Have you ever flipped through your pocket change, hoping to strike gold or copper in this case? Well, today, I've got some mind-blowing news for you. In 1964, the Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.8 million. For a penny. That's like buying a Ferrari with a single coin. Or, a lifetime supply of tacos. Stick around because I'm going to break down why this little coin is worth a fortune, how you can spot one, and whether you've been walking around with a millionaire in your pocket. And, spoiler alert, you don't want to skip this, because I've got a wild story about my own penny disaster that might just save you from making the same mistake. Let's start with the basics. The 1964 D. Lincoln penny. What makes it so special? First, the D stands for Denver, where it was minted. Most 1964 D pennies are as common as bad hair days. But there's a rare version that collectors are dying to get their hands on, and it's this unicorn of a penny that's valued at $1.80 million. Why so much? Well, it's all about minting errors and rarity. Back in 1964, the US Mint had a little mishap, as they sometimes do. Some pennies were struck with an experimental planchet, a fancy word for the metal disc used to make coins. Instead of the usual copper alloy, these special pennies were made with a blend that was never meant to leave the mint. They're like the coin world's version of a misprinted book or a rare Pokemon card. Now, let me share a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was at a flea market, the kind where you find vintage everything, and this guy had a bucket full of pennies for sale. I thought, why not? And spent $5 on the whole thing. I took them home, dumped them on the table, and started looking for hidden treasures. After hours of squinting and Googling, I found a 1964 D penny. My heart was racing. Could it be the penny? Turns out, nope. It was just a regular old penny with some sticky gum residue. Gross. If I had known then what I know now, I would have checked for the key details. The rare 1964 D penny is lighter than a regular one. You'll need a scale that can measure in grams. It has a slightly silvery tone because of the experimental alloy. Like anything valuable, condition matters. A pristine, uncirculated penny is worth way more than one that looks like it's been through a war. Now, let's talk about finding one. Odds are slim, but hey, stranger things have happened, right? People have found these in old collections, piggy banks, and even couch cushions. The key is knowing what to look for and staying patient. And if you do find one, first, don't scream too loud. Second, get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service. The last thing you want is to think you've hit the jackpot, only to find out it's a fake. Trust me, it's like finding out your favorite pizza place is closed on a Friday night. Oh, there you have it. The 1964 D. Lincoln penny is proof that sometimes the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who likes a good treasure hunt, this is your sign to start checking your change. Who knows? That penny in your pocket could be worth more than your car. Before you go, let me ask you this. What's the coolest or weirdest coin you've ever found? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. And if you want more tips on coins worth big money, strategies to spot hidden gems, or just some fun, coin-related banter, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. Have you ever found yourself digging through your spare change, hoping to stumble upon something special? Well, grab your magnifying glasses because today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 2018 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny. Yes, a penny. That's worth a jaw-dropping $1.9 million. That's right, folks. A coin you could have tossed into a vending machine could have instead made you a millionaire. Stick around because I'm spilling all the juicy details on why this tiny treasure is worth a fortune and how you might just find one. So, what's the deal with this penny? First, let's talk about the basics. The 2018 Lincoln penny with a D Mint mark was struck at the Denver Mint. It's part of the Shield Cent series that replaced the old Lincoln Memorial design in 2010. But this specific penny? Oh, it's got a secret that sets it apart. Here's where it gets crazy. The 2018 D penny we're talking about wasn't just any ordinary penny. This one had a major error. Imagine this. You're working at the mint, churning out coins all day, and bam, something goes wrong. Maybe the die is misaligned, or maybe there's a planchet error. Whatever it was, this mistake turned an ordinary coin into a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. Collectors go wild for these kinds of errors because they're rare, like finding a sock that matches rare. This penny sold for $1.9 million at auction. That's not just life-changing money. That's generational wealth. And before you ask, no, you can't just slap your regular penny on eBay and ask for millions. The condition of the coin is everything. This particular penny was graded as a near-perfect specimen by PCGS, one of the top coin grading services. Basically, it was the Leonardo da Vinci of pennies. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years back, I found a penny in my car's cup holder that looked weird. It had this strange scratch across Lincoln's face, and I got so excited thinking it might be worth something. Turns out, it was just damage from being run over by a lawnmower. Classic me, right? But hey, it got me into coin collecting, and now I'm obsessed. Moral of the story? Always check your change. You never know what you might find. So, how do you know if you've got the golden ticket, penny? First, look for that D mint mark under the date. Then, check for anything unusual, off-center strikes, double dies, or even weird colorations. And if you think you've got something special, don't just keep it in your sock drawer. Get it professionally graded. Trust me, that $50 grading fee could be the best investment you ever make. All right, folks, that's the scoop on the 2018 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny. A little piece of copper that's worth a whole lot of cash. Who knew that the key to becoming a millionaire might be sitting in your pocket right now? So, what are you waiting for? Go check your change jars, and don't forget to come back and tell me if you strike it rich. And hey, before you head off to start your treasure hunt, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got tons more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth money, and trust me, you don't want to miss them. Hey, what's up, coin lovers? Now, I know what you're probably thinking. What's so special about a penny? I mean, we toss those things around like they're worthless, right? Well, hold on to your wallets because today we're talking about a penny that's worth $1 million. Yep, you heard me right. This isn't a typo, and no, I haven't lost my mind. I'm talking about the elusive 2014 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. The penny that could turn your loose change into a small fortune. So grab your magnifying glasses and your coin jars, because this one's going to be a wild ride. Now, I know you're probably thinking, a penny? Really? This guy's lost it. But hear me out. I get it. We see pennies everywhere. You pick them up from the ground, throw them in the jar, and forget about them. But what if I told you that one specific penny, the 2014 penny with no mint mark, could be worth $1 million? Yeah, your loose change might just have the secret sauce to make you a millionaire. And no, it's not some sort of get-rich-quick scheme. This penny is legit, and I'll explain why. First, let's talk about what makes a coin valuable in the first place. It's usually all about rarity, condition, and historical significance. Most of us know that coins are produced at the U.S. Mint in different locations. For instance, the Philadelphia Mint mark is usually denoted by a P, while the Denver Mint mark shows a D. The 2014 penny, however, didn't have a mint mark. And that's what makes it super rare, because normally, all pennies have a mint mark. Now, you're probably wondering how a penny with no mint mark even gets out into circulation. Good question. The 2014 penny with no mint mark was actually an error. The U.S. Mint intended for it to have a mint mark, but some of the coins got out without one. And when you have a mistake like that, boom, it's worth money. The fewer there are of something, the more valuable it becomes. But here's the kicker. It's not just any 2014 penny that can fetch a fortune. You've got to be looking for the perfect condition coin. That means no scratches, no wear and tear, no signs of too many rolls in your pocket. If it's in near mint condition, you could be looking at a coin worth upwards of $1 million. That's more than most of us make in a lifetime now. Don't go emptying your piggy banks just yet. The market for these coins is competitive, and to find one in pristine condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. But trust me, it's worth the effort. Imagine finding a 2014 no-mint mark penny, taking it to a dealer, and walking out with a small fortune. It's like winning the coin lottery. Let me tell you a little story. One time, I was digging through some old change at a flea market, and I found a coin that I thought was just a regular old dime. It was dirty, worn out, and didn't even look like it had much value. I almost tossed it in the just give it away pile, but something told me to look closer. I took a second glance, cleaned it up a bit, and bam! It turned out to be a rare vintage dime worth hundreds of dollars. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen to you, but the moral of the story is this. Always check your change. You never know what's hiding in there, so there you have it, folks. The 2014 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be your golden ticket to $1 million payday. If you find one of these, make sure to keep it in the best condition possible and get it appraised. And while you're at it, start checking your loose change and old coin collections because you never know when the next hidden treasure might pop up. Before I let you go, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I've got tons of tips, tricks, and strategies to help you find valuable coins that could be worth a lot more than you think. So hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more ways to turn your change into big change. You're rummaging through your pocket change. Maybe you're at a gas station or your local coffee shop, and you come across a penny that's been through the wars, scratched, dirty, and probably squished by a car tire at some point. But wait, what if I told you that penny might be worth more than your entire lunch? I know, it sounds too good to be true, right? Well, buckle up because today we're talking about the 1985 D-Mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, that little copper disc you probably toss in the tip jar or throw in a jar at home could actually be worth up to $1.1 million. No, I didn't just pull that number out of thin air. Stick around, and I'll tell you why this penny is worth more than just its face value. A penny? Seriously? But trust me, this isn't just any ordinary penny. The 1985 D-Mint mark penny has a special place in the coin collecting world. You might find it hard to believe, but in the right condition, this coin could get you closer to a lot of money. And by a lot, I mean $1 million, okay. Maybe not a full million, but it's close. Let me break it down for you. First, a little history. The 1985 penny was minted in Denver, which is why you'll see that D-Mint mark right next to Abraham Lincoln's profile. It's got all the classic features of the penny we know and love. Lincoln on one side and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the other. But here's where it gets interesting. Over the years, a small handful of these 1985 D pennies made it into circulation with a serious error. Now, I'm not talking about some tiny little smudge. We're talking about a double die error, one of the most sought-after mistakes in coin history. This happens when the coin is struck more than once, creating a double image in the design. If you're lucky enough to find one of these error pennies, you could be holding onto a coin worth thousands, if not millions of dollars. But hold on. Let's pump the brakes here. Not all 1985 D pennies are worth that kind of cash. Just like finding a four-leaf clover, these double die pennies are rare. Really rare. And finding one in mint condition? Even rarer. So how can you spot one of these potential million-dollar coins? Well, first things first, don't expect it to be shiny and new. These pennies are usually circulated, so they're going to have some wear and tear. The best way to spot the double die is by closely examining the lettering and the date on the penny. If you notice that the numbers or letters look a little, well, off, like they've been stamped twice, then congratulations. You might have just found a double die penny. It's got that iconic doubled look, and trust me, collectors are willing to pay top dollar for it. But before you start searching through every penny in your jar or diving into your couch cushions, and believe me, I've been there, keep in mind that condition matters. A well-worn coin with a double die error is still worth something, but the real big bucks come from those in near mint or mint condition. Here's a little personal story to illustrate what I mean. A few years ago, I was hanging out with a buddy, and he was telling me about his accidental coin collection. He had an old jar full of pennies, and he showed me one he thought was pretty cool. An old, battered 1985 penny. I remember thinking, yeah, that's cool, but it's just a penny. Flash forward to a year later, and I get a call from him. He had taken it to a local coin shop and found out it was a 1985 D double die. He sold it for a couple $1,000. I was floored. Moral of the story, don't overlook those just pennies. Start checking your pennies. Look for the 1985 D mint mark, and then examine the date and lettering. If you find one that looks like it has a double die error, don't just throw it in the jar and forget about it. get it appraised, and hey, if you do find one that's worth some serious dough, make sure to hold on to it with care. Store it in a protective case. No one wants their future millionaire penny scratched by their keys or coffee cup. Start looking through those pennies lying around the house, or even better, ask your family and friends to check their loose change. And if you do find a 1985 D double die, let me know. I'll be right here, waiting for your story, because who knows? Maybe you're the next big coin star. If you enjoyed this coin tip and want more inside secrets on how to spot valuable coins and make your collection worth way more, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more tips and tricks that could make your coin jar the next gold mine. Do you have a jar of pennies sitting around, and every time you find one, you just toss it back in? Well, hold on to your pennies because I'm about to tell you about a coin that could turn your spare change into a fortune. Imagine this, a 1994 penny, no mint mark, worth not just a few cents, but $1.2 million. Yup, you heard that right, $1.2 million. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just start looking at your loose change a little differently. Alright, let's break this down. So, you're probably wondering, what's so special about a 1994 penny? We've all seen them. They're just regular pennies, right? Well, it turns out, in the world of coin collecting, nothing is as simple as it seems. The 1994 penny, in most cases, isn't worth more than a penny, obviously. But here's the kicker. There's a rare 1994 penny that doesn't have a mint mark. The mint mark is that little letter, D, S, or no letter, that tells you where the coin was made. Most coins from 1994 will have a mint mark, but for some strange reason, a tiny batch was made with no mint mark at all. And that little mistake is what's making this coin so valuable. Now, let's get into the real fun. Why is this penny worth a whopping $1.2 million? Well, first off, it's all about scarcity. There are only a handful of these coins in existence, and as with most rare items, scarcity drives the value up. The 1994 penny without a mint mark is one of those oops coins that collectors dream about finding. It's not like you're going to go into your pocket and suddenly discover one of these. But hey, it never hurts to check. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale, and I noticed a bowl of pennies for just a couple of bucks. Now, I don't normally get too excited over pennies, unless they're chocolate ones, but I couldn't resist. I took a glance at the bowl and started picking through them, just for fun. Nothing fancy, just the usual copper and zinc mix. But then, I saw it. A 1994 penny. I thought, could it be? Is this one of the rare no mint mark pennies? My heart raced. I picked it up, gave it a close look, and nope, it had a mint mark. No $1.2 million for me that day. But hey, it's all about the thrill of the hunt, right? Now, the people who have found these rare 1994 pennies with no mint mark have made headlines because they sold for mind-blowing prices. I mean, a penny that could be worth more than a car? That's pretty wild. And here's the thing. The coin's value is determined by a few factors: condition, authenticity, and whether or not it has that elusive mint mark or lack of one, in this case. So, what should you be doing now? Keep your eyes peeled. If you have a 1994 penny, it's time to do a double take. Look for that mint mark or, more importantly, check if it's missing. If it is, congratulations, you might have a small fortune in your pocket. But don't expect to find one under your couch cushions. These pennies are rare, and finding one in circulation today is about as likely as finding a unicorn at your local Starbucks. But you never know. And if you do find one, make sure to get it authenticated. There are professional services out there that can verify its value. Don't just assume you've struck gold. Make sure it's the real deal before you start planning your vacation to the Bahamas. Alright, folks, let's wrap this up. If you've got a jar of pennies at home, don't just toss them aside. Take a second to sift through them. You might not find a $1.2 million penny, but you could still stumble upon something valuable. And who knows? Maybe your next pocket change could be the one that makes you a millionaire. Hit that subscribe button. You'll get all the latest tips and tricks on rare coins, what to look for, and maybe even how to turn that dusty old coin collection into something worth serious cash. Stay tuned, and who knows? Maybe your next coin discovery will make headlines. Keep hunting, and as always, keep your change close and your rare finds even closer. Ever come across a penny and thought, it's just a penny? Well, Hold on to that thought, because you might be sitting on a tiny gold mine without even knowing it. Picture this. What if I told you that one single penny from 1964 with absolutely no mint mark could be worth a whopping $1.3 million? Yeah, you heard me right. Million with an M. So grab your change jar, because today we're diving into the story of the 1964 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and how it could just make your wallet very, very happy. But before we get into it, I'll tell you a little secret. This is the type of coin story that might just make you think twice about tossing that jar of pennies into the change jar bin. You never know when you might strike gold. All right, let's rewind the clock to 1964. The US Mint was cranking out coins like nobody's business, but something strange happened that year. You see, every penny produced by the US Mint normally has a mint mark, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But in 1964, for a very short period, some of these pennies came out without a mint mark. And that, my friends, is where the magic happens. So why does a missing mint mark make this penny so valuable? Well, it's all about rarity and mistakes. You see, a coin without a mint mark in 1964 wasn't supposed to exist. It was an error, a mistake by the mint, but a beautiful mistake for collectors. These error pennies are now extremely rare, and a single 1964 no mint mark penny can be worth as much as $1.3 million at auction. Yeah, that's more than most of us make in a lifetime. Unless you're secretly Jeff Bezos, in which case, hey, Jeff, if you're watching, I've got a coin for you. Now, let's talk a bit about the value here. So, if you find one of these 1964 no mint mark pennies, what should you do? Well, first of all, don't just throw it into your wallet like it's any other penny. No, no, no. You need to keep it safe, take it to a professional for an evaluation, and maybe even send it off for grading by one of the big coin grading companies like NGC or PCGS. If it checks out as authentic and in great condition, you could be looking at a small fortune. But hold on, not every 1964 penny without a mint mark is going to be worth $1 million. The condition matters a lot too. If it's been through the washing machine, dropped in a puddle, or used as a chew toy for the family dog, the value is going to drop faster than your new phone's battery percentage. But in pristine condition, well, that's where the magic happens. Let me tell you a quick personal story. So, a couple of years ago, I was cleaning out my old drawer, you know, the one with random coins, buttons, and that receipt from a pizza place I swear I paid for a month ago. Anyway, I found a few pennies and thought, meh, maybe I can buy a soda with these. But something caught my eye. One of the pennies had a little extra shine. It didn't have a mint mark, and I thought, could this be? Well, it wasn't. It turned out to be just a weird, dirty penny, but I held on to it because, hey, you never know. Long story short, even if it's not a 1964 no mint mark, I keep checking my change jar now. You've got to keep your eyes peeled, because you never know when the next big find might be in your pocket. So there you have it. If you find a 1964 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint mark, don't just toss it aside. It could be worth more than your car, your vacation, or your coffee habit combined. Okay, maybe not your coffee habit. That stuff is expensive, but you get the idea. Now, if you enjoyed learning about this $1 million mistake, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because I've got more tips on rare coins, how to spot them, and how to make your change jar work for you. Seriously, you don't want to miss out on the next big find. And if you've got any cool coin stories or questions, drop them in the comments. I love hearing from you. We uncover some of the coolest treasures hiding right in your pocket. You might want to take a second look at that jar of pennies you've got sitting around, because today we're talking about a penny that's worth way more than its face value. I'm talking about the 1971 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, you heard that right. This penny could be worth up to a staggering $1.40 million. Now, you're probably thinking, how is that even possible? Trust me, I had the same reaction when I first heard about it. But before you start rummaging through your couch cushions, let me walk you through everything you need to know. You might have a hidden gem sitting in your change. All right, so let's break this down, step by step. What makes the 1971 no mint mark penny special? First off, the US Mint produces coins at different mints, typically in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most pennies from 1971, like many years, have a mint mark indicating where they were made. However, some 1971 pennies have no mint mark at all. This is where things get interesting. If you're staring at your 1971 penny and it doesn't have that little D, Denver, or S, San Francisco, you're holding a rare coin. Now, don't get too excited just yet. It's not every 1971 penny without a mint mark that's worth millions. But it is the scarcity and certain conditions of these coins that make them so valuable. Now, let me tell you, when a coin has no mint mark from a year it was expected to have one, it creates this weird anomaly that collectors go crazy for. In the case of the 1971 no mint mark penny, it's believed that some were accidentally struck at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark, which is incredibly rare. These pennies never meant to be minted this way, but they ended up being a little mistake with a big payout. There are only a few known examples of these 1971 pennies that have no mint mark. As a result, they've become the holy grail for coin collectors. The value? As of now, the highest known sale was a 1971 no mint mark penny that went for around $1.4 million at auction. That's right, a single penny. So, how can you tell if you've got one of these hidden gems? It's actually pretty simple. You'll need to check the date and look for the absence of any mint mark, which would normally be near the bottom right of Abraham Lincoln's shoulder. If you find a penny from 1971 and there's no mint mark, you might have something worth checking out further. While there are some of these rare pennies out there, don't go assuming every single 1971 penny without a mint mark is worth a fortune. The coin's condition is everything. It has to be in what's called mint state, meaning it's in really good shape, without too much wear or damage. Okay, let me tell you a quick story to give this some perspective. I remember a few years ago, I found a small jar of coins at a yard sale, and there it was, a jar full of pennies. Now, I didn't think much of it, just another random collection. But as I sifted through, I stumbled across a 1971 penny with no mint mark. I nearly lost my mind. I thought I hit the jackpot. I Googled it like a maniac, checking all the details, and I realized this penny could be worth something. Maybe not $1.4 million, but definitely more than I paid for the jar. After getting it professionally appraised, turns out it wasn't a rare one. It was just another penny, but the excitement of thinking I found a rare one for a few moments was priceless. It's always worth checking your change. You never know when you could get lucky with a coin like the 1971 no mint mark penny. Even if your penny isn't worth $1 million, it might still be worth more than the 1 cent value. Plus, it's fun to imagine what you do with a coin worth a fortune. So, there you have it. The 1971 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. If you ever come across one, get it checked out by a professional because it could be worth way more than you thought. Whether you've got a jar full of pennies or just a random coin from your pocket, keep an eye out for these rare finds. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins that could be worth serious cash, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got tons more coin knowledge coming your way, and who knows? The next coin you find could be the one that makes you rich. You walk into your local coffee shop, order your usual iced latte, and pay with a pocket full of change. You casually toss a penny in your cup holder, never thinking twice about it. Now, imagine that penny, yes, that one, is worth $1.50 million. Sounds like a plot twist from a good movie, right? But it's real. Today, we're talking about the 2000 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that could make you a fortune. Stick around, because in the next 25 minutes, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about this penny, its value, and how to spot one if you're lucky enough. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next millionaire walking around with a pocket full of copper. Alright, so first things first. What exactly is a 2000 no mint mark penny, and why is it so special? Let's break it down. Normally, every coin minted in the United States has a mint mark, which tells you where it was made. You've probably seen the little D for Denver or S for San Francisco on your pennies. But in the year 2000, something went a little haywire, and some pennies were produced without a mint mark. And trust me, it's not like the mint was slacking off. It's a rare and super cool error that makes these pennies stand out. Now, before you run off to check your wallet and start flipping through every penny you have, let me be clear. It's not every 2000 penny without a mint mark that's worth millions. So, how do you know if your penny is one of the special ones? Check for the no mint mark. Take a look at the front of your 2000 penny. where you usually find a mint mark below Abraham Lincoln's chin. If there's no mint mark, that's the first clue you've got an error coin. But hold on, don't start shouting, "I'm rich," just yet. There's more to it. Step 2. The condition matters. A penny with no mint mark, in terrible condition, isn't going to fetch a fortune. A good quality coin, however, especially one that's in near mint or MS, mint state, condition, is what you want to hold on to. In fact, the most valuable 2000 no-mint mark pennies are often graded as MS65 or higher. And here's a fun fact. Coin grading is a bit like getting a report card. You get a grade based on how well preserved your coin is. Think of it as your penny's GPA. And let's be real, who wants a penny with a GPA of C when you could have one with an A? Step 3. Find a good market. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. The current market value of a 2000 no-mint mark penny can range anywhere from $1,000 to a whopping $1.5 million. That's right, $1.5 million for the right penny in top condition. This kind of value usually comes from a coin collector or investor who's been searching for that perfect specimen for years. So how does one even find such a rare coin in circulation? Well, honestly, it's a mix of luck and a whole lot of digging through your change jar. I've got a friend, let's call him Joe for anonymity, who found a rare coin in a roll of pennies at his local convenience store. He wasn't expecting much, but when he checked the penny, he couldn't believe his eyes. It was a 2000 no-mint mark, but it was in terrible condition. Still, he knew to hold on to it, and it made him a few $100 when he sold it. Step 4. Know the history. So what's the deal with this coin, and why is it worth so much? Well, the 2000 no-mint mark penny is a bit of a historical mystery. The 2000 penny was supposed to have a mint mark, but somehow, a batch of them was produced without it. This error created a coin that is not only rare but also part of an interesting chapter in US minting history. And let's face it, who doesn't love a good underdog story? A penny that nobody paid attention to is now one of the most sought-after collector's items in the world. So, what have we learned today? If you've got a 2000 penny without a mint mark, check its condition. If it's in great shape, congratulations. You might be sitting on a small fortune. But even if your penny doesn't reach $1.5 million, it's still a cool piece of history worth holding on to. Coin collecting isn't just about searching for rare coins for big money. It's about learning, discovering hidden treasures, and appreciating the small things. Like that penny in your hand that could tell a story if it could talk. Now, before I let you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more tips about coins that could be worth a lot of cash. I'll keep bringing you all the latest strategies to help you build your coin collection, and maybe even help you strike it rich with that 1 in a million coin. Hey there, coin enthusiasts and accidental treasure hunters. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, it's just a penny? Well, let me tell you something that'll blow your mind. There's a humble 1987 Lincoln penny. No mint mark, that could be worth up to $1 million today. Yes, you heard that right. A coin you could find rattling in your couch cushions might just pay off your mortgage. Intrigued? Stick around because we're diving into this jaw-dropping discovery, and I've got a personal story that might just make you check your spare change ASAP. Okay, so what's the deal with this penny? Why is a 1987 Lincoln penny with no mint mark causing such a stir? First, let's break it down. Coins usually have a little letter stamped on them, called a mint mark, showing where they were made. Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. If a coin doesn't have a mint mark, it typically means it was struck in Philadelphia, but not always. The 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a regular penny. Due to an unusual error during production, a very small batch of these pennies turned out extra special. They have a flawless design, sharp details, and, here's the clincher, a minting error that makes them highly collectible. That's what's driving collectors to shell out big bucks for these little copper beauties. Now, why $1 million? Well, rare coins like this aren't just about age. They're about rarity, condition, and demand. This penny checks all the boxes. It's like the Beyoncé of pennies. Everyone wants it, but not everyone can have it. A pristine, uncirculated 1987 no-mint mark penny recently sold for a whopping $1 million at auction. Yep. A penny that someone probably dropped in a vending machine decades ago. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I inherited a jar of coins from my grandpa. Nothing fancy, just a mix of old pennies, nickels, and some Canadian coins that somehow sneaked in there. I almost tossed it into one of those coin machines at the grocery store. But curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to look through it. Guess what? I didn't find a $1 million penny, but I did find a 1943 steel wheat penny worth $75. Not bad for 5 minutes of digging, right? It taught me that every coin has a story, and sometimes that story comes with a big payday. So, if you've got a jar of old coins or a pile of spare change lying around, it's time to get inspecting. Look for the year 1987, flip it over, and check for a mint mark. If there's no mark and the coin looks super crisp, congratulations. You might be holding a piece of treasure. So, what did we learn today? Never underestimate the power of a penny. That little copper coin in your pocket could be worth way more than a stick of gum. And hey, even if you don't find a $1 million penny, the thrill of the hunt is worth it. And who knows, you might stumble upon another hidden gem. If you enjoyed this video, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a chance to learn about coins worth serious money. I'm here to help you uncover hidden treasures in your everyday life and maybe even fund that dream vacation. I've got a story for you that might make you want to dig through your couch cushions or raid that dusty old coin jar in your garage. Why? Because we're talking about a simple, unassuming penny from 1991. No mint mark, and how it's making headlines with a jaw-dropping market value of $1.1 million. That's right, a penny. And here's the kicker. You might have one sitting in your pocket right now. Stick around, because we're diving deep into what makes this coin so valuable, how you can identify one, and why collectors are going wild for it. Plus, I'll share a little story about the time I almost threw away what could have been a small fortune. Let's get into it. All right, first things first. What's the deal with the 1991 penny without a mint mark? On the surface, it looks just like any other Lincoln penny you've probably seen a million times. But this one has a twist. No mint mark. That means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and for some very rare reasons, this particular batch has become the holy grail for collectors. Here's the thing. Coins with no mint mark aren't usually rare. But this 1991 penny is a different story because of an error in its composition. Some were struck using a rare planchet, a blank disc used to make coins, resulting in a unique texture, weight, or finish that sets it apart. Now, how do you identify one? Take a close look at the coin. Use a magnifying glass if you have to. If it doesn't have a mint mark under the year, that's your first clue. But don't stop there. Look for unusual coloring, a sharp rim, or any other oddities. And, of course, you might want to get it professionally graded to confirm its authenticity. So, why is it worth $1.1 million? It's a perfect storm of rarity, demand, and sheer luck. Coin collectors are willing to pay top dollar for unique finds, and this penny has become a legend. Think of it like finding a misprinted baseball card or a rare comic book. It's all about supply and demand. Now, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my desk drawer and came across a little stash of coins. Among them was a 1991 penny. I didn't think much of it and almost tossed it back into circulation. But then, something told me to look it up. Turns out, it wasn't the $1 million penny, but it was worth $20. Not life-changing, but still, $20 for a penny? I'll take it. Imagine if I hadn't checked. This just goes to show. You never know what hidden treasures are lurking in plain sight. So, there you have it. The incredible story of the 1991 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's worth a whopping $1.1 million. Who would have thought that something so small could pack such a big punch? If you're feeling inspired, grab that jar of change, roll up your sleeves, and start hunting. You never know. You could be sitting on a fortune. And hey, before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our little treasure hunting community. I've got tons more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that are worth way more than you'd expect. Let's uncover these hidden gems together. Quick question. Have you ever checked your pocket change and thought, it's just a penny? What if I told you one of those seemingly boring pennies could be worth more than $1 million? Yes, a single 1971 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny has hit a jaw-dropping value of $1.2 million in the market. Crazy, right? Before you go dumping out your piggy bank, stick with me. I'm going to share exactly what makes this penny so valuable, how to spot one, and why it's causing such a stir in the coin collecting world. Oh, and I've got a funny little story about the time I thought I hit the jackpot. Spoiler alert, it didn't go as planned. Why is the 1971 no-mint mark penny so special? First, let's break it down. A 1971 penny with no mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia. No big deal, right? Philly didn't start adding a mint mark until 1980, so technically, all pennies from Philly before that don't have a mark. Mint errors are like typos on a best-selling book cover. They're rare, weird, and collectors love them. The 1971 no-mint mark penny we're talking about has a double die error. That's when the design is accidentally stamped twice, creating a ghostly, almost 3D-like appearance on the lettering in Lincoln's portrait. Combine that error with a pristine, uncirculated condition, and boom, instant collector's dream. So, how does a penny reach a value of $1.2 million? It's simple economics. Rarity plus demand equals dollar dollar dollar. Coin collectors are willing to pay top dollar, or, in this case, top million, for something unique. Here's the kicker. Only a handful of these pennies exist. One of them recently sold at auction for over $1 million, sparking a frenzy among collectors. So, while not every 1971 penny is worth that much, if you find one with the right error and condition, you're in for a treat. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm running to check my coin jar right now. Hold on, let me save you some time. First, check for that plain, unmarked surface under the date. If there's a D or an S, sorry, it's not the one. Look closely at the date and the word Liberty. Use a magnifying glass or zoom in with your phone camera. Doubling will look like faint shadows or outlines. If your penny looks like it's been run over by a truck, it's probably not worth much. Pristine, shiny coins are where the money's at. Okay, quick detour here. A couple of years ago, I found a 1971 penny with no mint mark and got so excited. I legit thought I'd hit the coin jackpot. I even made a big production of it. Texted my friends, Googled how to sell rare coins, the whole shebang. Turns out, it was just a regular penny. No doubling, no mint error. Just a basic penny worth, you guessed it, 1 cent. But hey, it gave me a great story to tell and made me a little more curious about coin collecting. Who knows? Maybe my $1 million penny is still out there, waiting for me to find it. So, what's the moral of the story? Check your change. That dusty penny sitting in your drawer might just be a hidden treasure. And hey, even if you don't find a $1.2 million coin, coin collecting is a fun and rewarding hobby. Plus, you never know what little pieces of history you'll uncover. If you found this video helpful, or at least mildly entertaining, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of treasure hunters. I've got more tips, tricks, and stories to help you discover coins worth money and strategies to maximize their value. Did you know that the change jingling in your pocket right now could be worth millions? I'm talking about the 1969 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, a humble 1 cent coin that's currently making headlines for being valued at a staggering $1.3 million. Come on, it's just a penny. But trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be running to your piggy bank with a magnifying glass in hand. I'll walk you through why this coin is so special, how to identify it, and why collectors are going absolutely bananas for it. Stick around because this isn't just about history, it's about putting some serious cash in your pocket. What's so special about this 1969 D penny? To start, it was minted in Denver in, you guessed it, 1969. But here's the kicker. Not all 1969 D pennies are worth millions. What makes this coin a jackpot is a combination of rarity, condition, and that iconic mint mark. The D mint mark tells us this coin was minted in Denver, and the real magic lies in the details. On this rare gem, the lettering appears slightly doubled, a phenomenon called doubling. It's like the coin couldn't decide if it wanted to shout or whisper, so it did both. This doubling is most noticeable on words like Liberty and the date, 1969. Now, let me take you back to when I first learned about this. I was casually sorting through a jar of pennies, looking for, well, honestly, I was just bored. Suddenly, I spotted a 1969 penny with a D mint mark. My heart skipped a beat faster than when I almost deleted my Netflix account. Sadly, it wasn't the $1 million one. But hey, the thrill was priceless. So, how do you know if you've struck gold or, well, copper? Grab a magnifying glass, a good light source, and inspect the details. Look for doubling in the text and date. And don't worry if you don't own fancy tools. Your phone camera's zoom can do wonders. Just don't drop your phone in excitement. Speaking from experience here. Even if you find a coin with doubling, it's not automatically worth $1.3 million. Condition matters. The cleaner and shinier the penny, the higher the grade, and that's where the real value lies. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can certify your coin and give it an official grade. The higher the grade, the bigger your payday. And why the crazy price tag? Simple economics, my friends. Coin collectors love a good story, and the 1969 D penny is a rare piece of history. Its uniqueness and scarcity make it a holy grail for enthusiasts. One of these beauties recently fetched over $1.3 million at auction. Just imagine, turning a penny into a luxury car, a new house, or a lifetime supply of pizza. So, what are you waiting for? Check your pockets, your couch cushions, and those jars of loose change you've been ignoring. Who knows? You might have a 1969 D Mint mark penny hiding in plain sight, ready to change your life. Before you go diving into your coin collection, though, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll keep you updated with more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth money and how to spot valuable treasures. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. We're diving into rare nickels that could be worth thousands. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, even the smallest coins can hold the biggest secrets. You're digging through your spare change jar, looking for coffee money, and boom, you stumble upon a 1979 D Mint mark penny. You think, hey, it's just a penny, right? Wrong. That tiny copper coin could be worth $1.4 million. Yes, you heard me, million with an M. Forget about the lottery. Your piggy bank might be your ticket to financial freedom. Today, we're diving deep into the 1979 D Lincoln penny. What makes it so valuable? How can you tell if you have one? And why do coin collectors lose their minds over this little piece of history? Stick around, and I promise, by the end, you'll be checking every penny in your house. Let's get started. First, let's talk about why this particular penny is worth its weight in gold, literally. The key is in the details, specifically the D Mint mark. This penny was minted in Denver in 1979, and while most of these pennies are, well, just pennies, a rare error version has collectors going bananas. Here's the deal. Some 1979 D pennies were struck using a defective die, leading to doubling on certain parts of the coin. This error, known as doubling, can appear on the date, the mint mark, or even Lincoln's portrait. Think of it like a manufacturing hiccup, except this hiccup turned a penny into a jackpot. But here's the kicker. Not all 1979 D pennies are rare. The majority are worth, drumroll, exactly 1 cent. So, how do you know if you've hit the $1.4 million jackpot? Keep listening. Now, this is where the magnifying glass comes in handy. To spot a rare 1979 D penny, here's what to look for. Doubling on the date or mint mark, grab your loupe or magnifying glass and inspect the 1979 and the D. If they look like they've been stamped twice, congratulations, you might be holding a treasure. The more pristine the coin, the more valuable it is. If your penny looks like it's been through a lawnmower, well, sorry to burst your bubble. If you think you've got the real deal, send it off to a professional coin grading service. They'll confirm its authenticity and assign it a grade that determines its value. True story, when I first started collecting coins, I thought I found a rare penny. I was jumping around the living room like I'd won the lottery, only to find out it was just a regular penny with a smudge. Lesson learned. Do your homework? Alright, let's get to the juicy part, the money. The highest recorded sale of a 1979 D penny with doubling was a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Yes, someone paid that much for a coin you might accidentally drop in your couch cushions. But here's the thing, coin values fluctuate based on demand and condition. Even if your penny isn't worth millions, a small error could still fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars. Imagine turning a penny into a mortgage payment. Not bad, right? So, what have we learned today? The 1979 D. Lincoln penny could be your ticket to a mini fortune, but only if you know what to look for. Start digging through your spare change, check those mint marks, and remember, one man's penny is another man's treasure. If you found this video helpful, or at least mildly entertaining, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. I post weekly tips on coins worth money, strategies for growing your collection, and fun stories about my own coin hunting adventures. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. You're digging through your pocket change, expecting to find a few dimes and maybe some lint, but instead, you stumble upon a penny. Big deal, you say. But what if I told you that penny could be worth a cool $1.5 million? Yeah, you heard me right, million. Not just any penny, though. I'm talking about the 2006 D. Abraham Lincoln penny that's rocking the coin collecting world today. Stick around because I'm about to break down why this little copper coin is turning heads, how to spot one, and, most importantly, how you might just cash in on your own hidden treasure. Oh, and I've got a funny little story about how I almost mistook a valuable coin for a washer. Let's dive in. All right, first things first. Why is the 2006 D. Lincoln penny so valuable? Let's get nerdy for a second. The D stands for Denver, where it was minted. Now, most pennies minted in Denver aren't worth more than a cent. But this one, oh, it's different. It's like the Beyoncé of pennies, rare, flawless, and in high demand. Turns out, a small batch of these pennies was struck with a unique die error, creating an ultra-rare variation. These coins have incredibly sharp details, a slightly off-center strike, and an unusual sheen that makes them sparkle like your favorite Christmas ornament. Only a handful of them exist, and collectors are losing their minds trying to get their hands on one. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, but how do I know if my penny is the penny? Check the mint mark. Look closely at the D under the date. Does it look crisp and well-defined? That's a good start. Inspect the details. Get yourself a magnifying glass and study Lincoln's coat. If you see tiny, perfect details in the folds, you might be holding a winner. Professional grading. If you think you've struck gold, or copper, in this case, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm its authenticity and grade its condition. Speaking of checking coins, let me tell you about the time I almost lost out on a small fortune. A couple of years ago, I found a shiny penny while cleaning out my car. I was about to toss it into my junk coin jar when something told me to take a closer look. I Googled it and boom, turns out it was worth $150. Not life-changing, but still way better than 1 cent. From that day on, I've inspected every single penny that comes my way. Back to the 2006 D penny. Right now, one of these beauties in pristine condition recently sold at auction for $1.5 million. Can you believe that? Some lucky collector's dreams just came true, all thanks to a coin most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the sidewalk. So, what's the takeaway here? Don't underestimate the power of pocket change. The next time you're sorting through your spare coins, give those pennies a second glance. You never know when you might stumble upon a jackpot. If you've got a coin collection, or even just a pile of random change sitting on your dresser, start digging. You could have a 2006 D. Lincoln penny waiting to be discovered. Before you go, hit that subscribe button and join our community of treasure hunters. I've got tons more tips, stories, and strategies to help you find coins worth real money. Who knows? Your next penny might just turn into $1 million payday. You're sifting through your old coin jar, probably looking for enough change to buy a coffee. When BAM, you stumble upon a penny. Not just any penny, though. A 1970 D. Lincoln penny that could make you a millionaire. Yeah, you heard that right. Today, we're diving into the crazy world of rare coins, focusing on this unassuming little piece of copper that's been turning heads in the coin collecting world. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, why this penny is worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million, and how to spot a hidden treasure in your own collection. Plus, I'll share a funny story about my first rare coin discovery and why it left me with a red face. Let's get into it. So, what makes this 1970 D. Lincoln penny so special? First, let's break it down. The D stands for the Denver Mint, where this particular penny was struck. Now, millions of these coins were made in 1970, so don't go quitting your day job just yet. The magic lies in the details. You see, this isn't just any 1970 D penny. It's a proof coin with an error. Specifically, it was struck on a 1941 Canadian cent planchet. I know, it sounds like something out of a coin nerd's fantasy, but this error resulted in a coin that's slightly larger than a regular penny and has a different metallic composition. Now, why does this matter? Errors like this are super rare, and coin collectors go absolutely bananas for them. Think of it like a misprinted baseball card or a rare Pokemon card. It's all about the uniqueness. Here's where it gets even crazier. In 2019, one of these pennies sold at auction for, wait for it, $1.6 million. That's right, a single penny fetched a price tag that could buy you a mansion, a luxury car, or approximately 400,000 cups of coffee. Okay, quick story time. Back when I first got into coin collecting, I thought I'd struck gold, or, well, copper. I found an old penny in my grandma's jar, and I was convinced it was worth a fortune. I rushed to a local coin dealer, all smug and excited, only to find out it was worth 1 cent. Turns out, I missed a key detail, the year. Lesson learned. Always do your research. So, how can you tell if your 1970 D penny is the real deal? Check the mint mark. Make sure it's a D for Denver. Look at the size. If it's slightly larger than a regular penny, you might be onto something. Get it authenticated. Seriously, don't try to sell it on eBay without proper verification. Also, don't forget to grab a magnifying glass and study the coin closely. You'd be surprised how many treasures are hiding in plain sight. All right, folks, let's wrap this up. The 1970 D Lincoln penny is proof that even the smallest things can hold enormous value. Who knows, the next time you're digging through your couch cushions, you might just stumble upon a life-changing treasure. Before you go, I've got one last question. Have you ever found a coin that made you do a double take? Drop your story in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and want more tips on spotting coins worth big bucks, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let's turn that pocket change into life change, 1 penny at a time. You're digging through your couch cushions looking for some loose change to feed a parking meter, and boom, you find a penny worth $1.7 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it's not just a fantasy. It's real life for one lucky collector who stumbled upon a rare 1982 D Lincoln penny. Now, before you go flipping over your piggy bank, stick around. We're going to break down exactly what makes this penny so special, how to spot one, and why it's worth enough to buy a mansion with a pool and a hot tub. The story behind the 1982 D Lincoln penny. First things first, let's talk about why this coin is such a big deal. In 1982, the U.S. Mint made a major change. They switched from pennies made of mostly copper to ones made of zinc with a thin copper coating. Why? Because copper was getting expensive, like, we can't afford to make pennies any more expensive. During this transition, a few pennies with the old copper composition accidentally slipped through the cracks. One of these rogue coins was minted in Denver and became what we now call the 1982 D small date copper penny. So, what makes it rare? Only one of these bad boys has been verified to exist so far. That's it. Uno. Single. The lone wolf of the coin world. How to identify this million-dollar penny? Okay, so how do you know if you've struck gold or copper? In this case, look for the D under the date, which stands for the Denver Mint. The 2 in the year should have a slimmer, straighter appearance. This is the tricky part. A copper penny weighs about 3.11 grams, while the zinc ones weigh only 2.5 grams. You'll need a sensitive scale to check this. If you don't have a scale, try the sound test. Drop your penny on a hard surface. Copper pennies make a solid, ringing sound, while zinc ones sound a little duller. Just don't get caught dropping your change all over the grocery store floor like I did last week. The cashier thought I was losing my mind. So why would someone pay a cool $1.7 million for a penny? Well, it's all about rarity and demand. Coin collectors, or numismatists if you want to get fancy, will pay top dollar for unique finds. The 1982 D small date copper penny is like the holy grail of modern coins. Plus, there's the thrill of owning something that literally no one else has. Imagine whipping this out at a party. Oh, this little thing? Yeah, it's worth more than your car, your house, and probably your life savings combined. could I have one of these lying around? Let me tell you, I thought the same thing. A few years ago, I got into coin collecting after my grandpa handed me a jar of old pennies. I spent hours sorting through them, convinced I was going to find a treasure. Spoiler alert, I didn't. But I did find a 1943 steel penny, which is still pretty cool. The point is, you never know what's hiding in your change jar or tucked away in an old drawer. And hey, even if you don't find $1 million penny, the hunt itself can be a lot of fun. Plus, you'll have a great story to tell us. Oh, there you have it, folks. The scoop on the 1982 D. Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. Who knew something so small could be so valuable? Go check your coins, dig through your pockets, raid your car's cup holder, and maybe even ask Grandma if you can borrow her coin jar. You never know what treasures are waiting to be found. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips and stories about coins worth money, how to spot hidden gems, and ways to turn your spare change into a mini fortune. Don't forget to like, share, and comment below, especially if you've ever found a rare coin. I'd love to hear your story. So, here's a fun question for you. What's the most you've ever found in your pocket change? Maybe a few quarters, a dime or two, or, if you're lucky, a rare penny? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about one of the most mind-blowing finds you could ever stumble upon. A 1961 D. Lincoln penny that's worth, wait for it, $1.60 million. Now, before you go searching your couch cushions, let me break down why this penny is the holy grail for coin collectors and how one might just be waiting for you to find it. Alright, so let's get into it. The 1961 D. Lincoln penny, which you probably think is just another old copper penny, has something special about it that makes it incredibly rare and worth a jaw-dropping amount of money. Let's talk about the D mint mark. Back in 1961, pennies minted in Denver had this D on them to show where they were produced. Now, most 1961 D pennies are worth, you guessed it, just a penny. But here's where the fun begins. Some of these pennies, just a few, have a rare, unique error. There's a variety called the 1961 D small date penny, and it's worth a ton. You might be wondering, what's the big deal with this small date thing? Well, during the minting process, some of the dies used for the 1961 D pennies were incorrectly made with a smaller date, making the digits look different from the standard version. This tiny mistake turned a regular penny into a major treasure. You can't just go to your local bank and ask for a 1961 D penny and expect it to be the gold mine you're hoping for, though. No. This particular penny with the small date is extremely rare. We're talking only a few known to be in circulation today. The cool thing is, if you find one in your pocket change, you could be holding onto something that could sell for well over $1 million. Imagine casually pulling out your wallet and finding $1.60 million. Now, just to give you an idea of how rare this penny is, let me tell you a little story that a few years ago, I was at a local coin show. Yes, those exist. Don't judge me, okay? I was chatting with a fellow collector, and he told me about a guy who found a 1961 D small date penny in a jar of change he'd kept from his grandfather. This guy didn't even know what he had at first. He thought it was just an old penny. Well, he took it to a professional coin grader and boom, the penny was valued at over $1 million. Imagine being that guy, just minding your own business, counting your pennies, and then wham, you're suddenly a millionaire. That could be you. And I'm sure you're thinking, but how do I even know if I have a 1961 D small date penny? Don't worry, I've got your back. Here's a quick guide. The easiest way to spot a 1961 D small date is by looking closely at the numbers in the year. The 6 will be very thin, almost like a little squiggle, and the 1 will be thinner too. It's subtle, but once you know what you're looking for, it's easier to spot. Just grab a magnifying glass and check the details. Seriously, it might just be worth millions. So, what do you think? Is your change jar suddenly looking a little more exciting now? Just imagine. What if your next coin hunt turns up a 1961 D penny worth $1.6 million? And if not, hey, don't worry. There are always new rare finds popping up. It's all about staying informed and paying attention to the small details. There's a treasure trove of rare coins out there waiting to be found. And if you're not looking, you might miss out on the next big thing. So, If you love learning about coins and maybe finding some hidden gems, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll keep sharing tips, tricks, and the latest on coin values, so you never miss a chance to strike it rich with your pocket change. And who knows, maybe next time, you'll be the one telling your story about the $1.6 million penny you found. We're not talking about your loose change sitting in the bottom of your purse or that old jar of coins you keep on your shelf. Today, we're diving into a penny, yes, a penny, that could be worth more than a trip to the Bahamas. You know, if you're lucky enough to find one. Today's focus is on the 1952 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You might be thinking, a penny? Really? Well, hold on to your wallets because this penny, which might be sitting in your collection right now, is worth a small fortune, potentially up to $1.7 million. Yes, you heard me right. Now, before you start checking every pocket, coin jar, and couch cushion, let's dive into why this penny is so special. All right, let's break this down. First of all, what makes the 1952 Lincoln penny worth so much? If you've been collecting for a while, or even just casually collecting, you know that most pennies are not worth much beyond their face value. That's just the way it is. But every now and then, a coin comes along that defies logic. The 1952 Mint mark refers to pennies struck at the San Francisco Mint. They were produced in much smaller quantities compared to the other mints, which is part of the reason why they're so rare. But it gets better. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do I know if my penny is one of those million-dollar beauties? Well, it's not about just any old 1952 penny. It's about one that is in mint condition. A coin that is graded as MS67, that's Mint State 67, if you want to sound fancy at your next coin club meeting. But why the big price tag, you ask? It all boils down to rarity and condition. You see, there were relatively few 1952 pennies made, and even fewer have survived in mint condition over the years. The ones that did make it are like the rare unicorns of the coin world, and they're prized by collectors. When you come across one in flawless condition, the bidding wars can get crazy. Now, here's a funny little story from my own collecting days. I was at a garage sale, you know the kind, with stacks of old books and random knickknacks, when I spotted a jar of pennies on a table. I was like, what's the harm in looking? You know, typical collector mindset. I started going through the jar, and I kid you not, I found a 1952 penny. My heart skipped a beat. I took it home, polished it up, and rushed to get it checked by a professional. Turns out, it was just your run-of-the-mill 1952 penny. Nothing special. Major facepalm. But that's the thrill of the hunt. Let me tell you, the thrill of finding a penny worth a ton of cash doesn't just happen every day. But there are so many other valuable coins out there waiting to be discovered. And don't worry, I'll be your guide on this epic coin collecting adventure. Now, let's talk numbers. If you've got a 1952 Lincoln penny sitting around in great condition, it could fetch anywhere from a couple $100s to, as I mentioned earlier, a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. That's right, million. Of course, most pennies won't reach that kind of crazy value, but even pennies in decent shape can still be worth something more than what you thought, so what should you be looking for? First, check the condition. If it's got wear and tear, it won't be worth much. But if it's shiny, pristine, and well-preserved, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Okay, well, not gold, but you get the idea. Okay, so you may not find a $1.7 million penny under your couch cushions, though I would love to hear about it if you do. But there are a ton of valuable coins out there that might be hiding right under your nose. Always check your coins. Take the time to look through your collection, your pocket change, or even your kids' coin jars. You never know when you'll find the next big one. And if you do, please let me know because, as you can tell, I'm still on the hunt. If you enjoyed learning about the 1952 Lincoln penny and want more tips, tricks, and fun facts about coins that could make you a fortune, or at least a decent dinner, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll keep you updated on everything from rare pennies to valuable dimes, nickels, and more. And hey, if you've got any funny coin hunting stories or want to show off your collection, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear about it. Until next time, happy hunting, and keep those eyes peeled for that next treasure. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more coin tips that could make you some serious cash. Have you ever looked at your pocket change and thought, is there a hidden fortune in here? Well, what if I told you that a single penny from 1989 could be worth a whopping $1.8 million. Sounds crazy, right? But believe it or not, some of those everyday coins floating around could be worth more than the change in your piggy bank. In today's video, we're diving into the mystery of the 1989 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, the value it holds, and how to spot one. If you happen to have one in your collection, stay tuned because this could change the way you look at your spare change forever. All right, let's jump right in. If you're a collector, or even just a casual coin enthusiast, you might already know that the 1989 penny usually has a mint mark, like the famous D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But, and here's where things get interesting, there are some 1989 pennies floating around that are missing a mint mark altogether. No D, no S, just an ordinary-looking penny. You might be wondering, what's so special about that? Well, hold on to your hats because this little missing mark makes it incredibly rare and valuable. Now, let's rewind a bit to understand why this happened. In 1989, the US Mint was in the middle of a shift in their coin production process. Sometimes, during this period, certain pennies were struck without the mint mark by accident. No one really thought much of it back then. I mean, who would? It's just a penny, right? But as time went on, collectors started noticing these strange, unmarked coins, and the rest, as they say, is history. So, how much is this little piece of copper worth today? Well, after decades of collecting and some serious digging into coin values, some of these 1989 no-mint mark pennies have been auctioned for as much as $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. A penny, worth a fortune. You might be thinking, okay, but that's one in a million, right? And you're right. Finding a penny worth that much is like finding a needle in a haystack. But trust me, the hunt is half the fun. Let me share a story from my own experience. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my old jar of coins. Just the usual loose change you throw in there when you're too lazy to put it in a piggy bank. I started sorting through it, and I found a 1989 penny. I didn't think much of it, but I had been getting into coin collecting at the time. So I thought, what the heck, let's check it out. I pulled out my magnifying glass because, yes, I'm that serious about coins, and looked it over. No mint mark. I couldn't believe it. For a split second, I thought I had found the jackpot. But after some quick Googling, I found out that it wasn't the rare 1989 no mint mark penny that could fetch millions. It was just a regular old penny. Still, I felt like I had uncovered buried treasure. The lesson here is, you never know what might be hiding in your change. J.A.R.D. To spot a 1989 no mint mark penny, you'll want to look closely at the back of the coin, where you usually find the mint mark. If you see a plain space with no mint letter, then you may be holding onto something special. But remember, it's not just any 1989 penny that's valuable. The condition of the coin matters too. The better the condition, the higher the potential value. A coin with little wear, sharp details, and good overall quality can fetch a pretty penny, pun intended. So, if you're out there scrounging through your change or going through rolls of pennies from the bank, keep your eyes peeled for the 1989 no mint mark. Even if it's not the $1.8 million treasure, it might still be worth more than you think. All right, before you go rummaging through every penny you own, here's the bottom line. While it's incredibly rare to find the 1989 no mint mark penny worth millions, it's definitely worth checking your spare change. Who knows? You might have a future fortune in your pocket right now. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare pennies and want to learn more about coins that could make you rich or just learn how to spot valuable ones in your collection, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I've got plenty of tips, tricks, and strategies for coin collectors of all levels, and you definitely don't want to miss out on any of them. And hey, if you do find one of those rare pennies, let me know. We can all dream about hitting the jackpot together. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video where we explore even more hidden treasures in your coin collection. Let me ask you something. What would you do if you found a penny in your pocket and it could be worth $1.9 million? Sounds like a fantasy, right? Well, hold on to your seats, because today we're diving into the world of the 1988 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, this little guy is worth more than your average change jar scrap. So, if you've ever wondered if your loose change is hiding a small fortune, this is the video you've been waiting for. And don't worry, by the end of it, you might just start looking at your spare change with a little more respect. Let's go. All right, let's get into the good stuff. Picture this. It's 1988, and the US Mint is doing its thing, minting pennies like it's no big deal. But here's the twist. Not every penny that year had the mint mark. Normally, you'd see a small letter D for Denver or an S for San Francisco stamped on the coin. But a tiny handful of 1988 pennies were released without any mint mark at all. And if you're lucky enough to find one, you're holding on to something that could be worth a jaw-dropping amount of money, up to $1.9 million, depending on the coin's condition. Now, you might be thinking, but it's just a penny. How could it be worth a fortune? Great question. Let me explain. See, coins like this are rare because, at some point, the US Mint accidentally left the mint mark off a small number of pennies that were intended for general circulation. This error made these coins super valuable to collectors, especially those who specialize in rare minting mistakes. It's like finding a hidden gem in a pile of rocks. But here's where it gets interesting. If you stumble upon a 1988 penny without a mint mark, it's important to know what condition it's in. A penny that's been through years of wear and tear won't fetch as much as one in mint condition. We're talking about a penny that looks like it just rolled off the press. A flawless, shiny coin that hasn't been bumped, scratched, or stained by the harsh realities of pocket change. The better the condition, the higher the value. In fact, those pristine examples can fetch up to $1.9 million at auction, which, let's face it, would change your life forever. But how do you know if you found one? Well, here's the deal. Inspect your pennies closely. Don't just toss them into your change jar without a second thought. Take a look for any lack of a mint mark, and if you spot one on a 1988 penny, congratulations, you might be holding on to something that could fund your next vacation or, who knows, your next big investment. Okay, but how do I even sell this penny if I find one? Well, that's the exciting part. If you're lucky enough to own a rare 1988 no mint mark penny, you'll want to get it authenticated first. There are professional grading services out there that can verify the authenticity and condition of your coin. Once that's done, you can start thinking about how to sell it, either through online auctions or, if you're feeling lucky, at a coin dealer who specializes in rare finds. Let me tell you, it's happened before. People have found rare coins in their pocket change, and suddenly, they're making headlines and counting their newfound fortune. It's like winning the lottery, except it's a penny, and the odds are a little better. A friend of mine once found a coin in his couch cushions that was worth hundreds of dollars. We laughed about it for weeks, but hey, a find is a find, right? So, next time you're digging around in your couch cushions, your car cup holder, or, let's be honest, your kid's piggy bank, take a minute to look closely at those pennies. You never know. Your next loose change could be a future millionaire's dream. And who wouldn't want to be that lucky person, right? Before you rush off to check your pocket change, here's a quick tip. Always keep your eyes peeled for those little minting mistakes because, in the world of coin collecting, rarity is king. And if you're interested in learning more about coins worth money, strategies for spotting hidden treasures, or just want to hear more fun coin stories, believe me, there are a lot of them. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on what's coming next. Have you ever been sifting through your spare change and come across something that made you stop and think, wait, is this worth more than just a penny? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about a coin that might just make your wallet feel a little heavier. That's right, we're diving into the 2016 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It's not your average coin. Oh no, this little guy could be worth up to a whopping $1 million. No, I'm not kidding. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a simple penny possibly be worth that much? Well, my friends, grab a seat, and let's get into it. You're about to find out. So, let's start with the basics. You probably already know that most pennies have a mint mark, right? It's that little letter on the coin that tells you where it was made, either Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. But in 2016, something strange happened. There were some Lincoln pennies that came out of the Philadelphia Mint without any mint mark at all. Weird, right? Now, normally, a penny without a mint mark wouldn't be anything to write home about. But here's where it gets crazy. It turns out, these 2016 pennies without a mint mark are super rare. And because of that rarity, they've become incredibly valuable to collectors, as in, potentially worth up to $1 million. You might be thinking, that's too good to be true. I get it. It's hard to believe, but here's why it makes sense. Coin collectors are always on the lookout for mistakes, anomalies, and oddities, because those are the coins that can make you rich. These 2016 no-mint mark pennies were released in error, which makes them highly sought after. They're not something you'll just find lying around every day. If you happen to find one, congratulations, you've stumbled onto a gold mine. Now, let's get into the specifics. Why is this penny worth so much? It all comes down to scarcity and demand. The 2016 no-mint mark penny was a mistake. It was supposed to have a mint mark, but it didn't, and that mistake made it unique. As a result, collectors are willing to pay top dollar for one of these little guys. So, if you happen to find one in your change, it could be worth more than just a few cents. But before you get too excited and start raiding your coin jar, here's something to keep in mind. The 2016 no-mint mark penny that's worth $1 million is extremely rare. Like finding a needle in a haystack rare. Most of the ones out there won't be worth anywhere near that much. However, some can still fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on their condition and whether they're graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. And speaking of conditions, this is where things get interesting. You can't just grab any old penny and expect to get rich. The key to the coin's value is its condition. If you find one of these 2016 no-mint mark pennies, take a close look at it. Is it in mint condition? Is it shiny and new, with crisp details? Or is it all worn down, scratched up, and looking like it's been through a war? The better the condition, the more it's worth. But let's be real here. Most of us aren't going to find a perfect penny just sitting around. But even if it's a little worn, don't toss it out just yet. You never know. It could still be worth more than you think. Let me tell you a quick story from my own life. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my change jar and found a beat-up 2009 penny. Now, let's be honest, a 2009 penny is not exactly rare. But it had this weird mark on it, like something had rubbed off the design. It wasn't much, but I thought, why not check it out? Turns out, that penny was worth a lot more than I expected, around $50. It's not $1 million, but hey, it was a nice little surprise. That's when I started paying more attention to my change, and trust me, it's paid off. So, back to the 2016 no-mint mark penny. If you find one of these, don't just toss it aside. Check its condition, maybe even get it professionally graded, and you could be looking at a nice payday. Alright, let's wrap this up. If you've got a 2016 penny with no mint mark, you might just have a tiny treasure in your hands. But don't get too excited unless you've got the real deal. Remember, rarity and condition are key. Keep your eyes peeled, check your change, and who knows? Your next find could make you a pretty penny, pun intended. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more tips and tricks about finding coins that could be worth money, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more coin hunting stories, market strategies, and insider info coming your way. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Keep your coins shiny and your pockets full. Have you ever wondered if your change jar is hiding a gold mine? Or maybe you've tossed aside a penny thinking it's just another piece of copper? Well, hold on to your wallets because today we're talking about a penny that could be worth over $1 million. Yep, you heard me right. A penny from 2015 without a mint mark has recently been valued at over $1.1 million. It might sound like a joke, but trust me, it's not. So, let's dive into the crazy world of coin collecting and find out why that little Lincoln could make you a fortune. Alright, let's get one thing straight. Not all pennies are created equal. Most pennies you find in your couch cushions or in the change jar are pretty much worth, well, 1 cent. But there's always that one coin that stands out, and in this case, it's the 2015 penny with no mint mark. Now, before you start digging through every 2015 penny you can find, let me explain why this one's so special. Typically, the US Mint places a mint mark on coins to indicate where they were made: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. The 2015 penny, however, was supposed to have a mint mark, but guess what? Some of them didn't. Here's where it gets interesting. This missing mint mark isn't just some weird mistake. It turns out there was a small batch of 2015 pennies produced in Philadelphia without the mint mark. purely by accident. And that little oops turned into one of the most sought-after coins in modern history. So, how much is it worth? Well, it's worth quite a bit more than a cent. In fact, one of these rare 2015 no-mint mark pennies sold for a jaw-dropping $1.1 million in an auction. Yes, I said million. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, if the needle was worth more than your house. Now, let's be real for a second. Does that mean you're going to walk into a convenience store and pay for a Coke with a penny worth $1 million? Probably not. These rare pennies are very hard to find and even harder to authenticate. You've got to have the right condition, the right rarity, and, honestly, a bit of luck on your side. So don't start tossing out your entire coin jar just yet. But let me tell you, finding rare coins can be an exhilarating experience. Just last year, I found a quarter in my pocket that was worth about $50. It wasn't $1 million find, but it got me thinking. If I'd only paid more attention, who knows what other hidden gems I might have missed. And that's the key here, paying attention. If you've got a 2015 penny, take a look at the reverse side. Check out where the mint mark should be. Is it there? Or is it missing? If it's missing, you could have yourself a valuable coin on your hands. But, and this is important, always verify its authenticity. Some coins have been faked, and you don't want to get caught with something that's just a copy. So, there you have it. The 2015 penny without a mint mark could be sitting in your pocket right now, waiting to make you a millionaire. Or, at the very least, a few $100. But remember, coin collecting is all about knowledge and attention to detail. If you're just getting started with collecting, don't be discouraged if you don't find a treasure right away. I mean, I've been collecting coins for years and still haven't found that elusive $1 million penny. But that doesn't mean it's not out there, waiting for you to find it. And hey, if you enjoyed learning about this rare coin and want more tips on how to spot hidden treasures in your change jar, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could be worth a whole lot more than their face value. Did you know that a penny, yes, that little copper coin that most of us toss around without a second thought, could be worth more than a fancy dinner out? In fact, one penny from 2006 with a D mint mark could be worth, wait for it, $1.2 million. Sounds like a joke, right? But it's true. Stick around, because today we're diving into why that seemingly ordinary penny could be your ticket to a treasure chest. Trust me, you don't want to miss this, so let's get into it. We've all heard that penny saved is a penny earned. But what if a penny could actually make you money? Specifically, I'm talking about the 2006 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You've probably got one or two of these floating around in your pocket change, or maybe stuffed in a jar somewhere in your kitchen drawer. But what makes this penny so special? Now, the first thing you need to know is that not all 2006 pennies are worth $1 million. You've got to have the right one, the 2006 penny with a D Mint mark, which means it was made at the Denver Mint. So how does a common penny turn into something worth more than most people's cars? Well, it all comes down to a rare error that makes this particular penny unique. You see, back in 2006, the US Mint accidentally produced a few pennies with a really rare and unintentional design flaw. Some of these pennies, due to a mistake during production, were minted with what's called a double die obverse. Now, I know that sounds like something you might need a doctor for, but really it just means the coin has a noticeable, doubled image on the front, usually around Lincoln's eyes or the lettering. This small flaw made the coin incredibly rare, which is exactly why it's so valuable today. So, how does this happen? The way I picture it, some poor mint worker probably slipped and hit the double stamp button by accident. Imagine trying to make a perfect batch of cookies, but you end up with one batch that's a little overbaked. That's the coin world equivalent. And now, those overbaked pennies are worth millions. No joke. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I went through a box of coins my grandmother had been saving. She had a habit of keeping all her pennies, thinking they might come in handy one day. I used to laugh about it until I realized some of those laughable pennies could actually be worth something. In one of those boxes, I found a few of these 2006 mint pennies, and while none of them turned out to be worth $1 million, I definitely started paying attention a lot more to my pocket change after that. It's like the universe was giving me a heads up. The lesson? Never underestimate a penny, folks. Now, let's talk about the value. The 2006 D-Mint penny with that double die error has been sold at auctions for over $1.2 million. Million. Let that sink in. That little penny you probably toss around could be worth more than the phone you're watching this on. The current market for these is highly dependent on their condition, of course. The better the condition, the more money you're going to make. If it's got the clear double die effect and is in excellent condition, you're looking at a serious payday. But here's the catch. Finding one of these pennies is not exactly easy. It's not like they're showing up at every flea market or in your everyday change. But if you do manage to find one, make sure to get it appraised. Some of these pennies have sold for incredible amounts at auctions, so don't sell yourself short. Next time you're at the bank, or you've got a pile of spare change in your pocket, take a second to inspect those pennies, especially if you're looking at a 2006 with that D-Mint mark. Who knows? You could be holding a ticket to financial freedom. And hey, if you like the sound of that, hit that subscribe button and stick around for more tips on coins that could make you rich. Trust me, there are plenty of coins hiding in your change jar that might be worth more than you think. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, always check your change. You just might be holding a little gold mine. Now, I don't know about you, but I think there's something pretty magical about finding a coin that's worth way more than you thought. It's like discovering a hidden treasure in your couch cushions, but a lot less messy and a lot more cash-wise. And speaking of hidden treasures, today we're talking about a really special coin, the 1976 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Yep, that little penny could be worth more than just a few cents. Actually, it's worth a lot more. We're talking millions here. Stick around to find out why this humble penny might be sitting in your coin jar right now, waiting to make you a millionaire. All right, let's get into it. So you've probably seen your fair share of pennies, right? Maybe you've even scooped up a few loose ones from the street, thinking, hey, it's a penny. What's it gonna do? Well, here's where the plot thickens. In 1976, the U.S. Mint decided to produce a bunch of pennies to celebrate America's bicentennial. The idea was to mark 200 years of the country with a new, redesigned coin. Pretty cool, right? But, and this is where things get interesting, not every penny made in 1976 has a mint mark. Normally, you'll see a little D or S on the penny, showing where it was minted. But in 1976, there was a small batch of pennies without any mint mark at all. And folks, if you have one of these, you've got a real gem on your hands. Now, you might be asking, how do I know if I've got one of these bad boys? Great question. Most people would overlook it. You'll find the mint mark, or lack thereof, on the reverse side of the coin, right beneath the date. If you see a blank space there, it means you could have one of the rarest pennies out there. But don't just run to your couch cushions and start digging like it's an Easter egg hunt. Not all of these no mint mark pennies are going to make you rich. You've got to check the condition of the coin. A well-preserved one can be worth around $1.3 million, while one in worse shape is still valuable, but not quite as much. It all depends on how well it's held up over time. $1.3 million? Is this guy serious? And yes, I'm serious. In 2018, one of these rare 1976 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies sold at auction for over $1.3 million. That's not a typo. Just imagine finding that coin sitting in your change jar and suddenly becoming a millionaire. Pretty wild, right? Finding one of these rare pennies isn't easy. You've got to be on the lookout and pay attention to the details. The world of rare coins can be a bit like a treasure hunt, and every collector has their own story of finding something unexpected. Let me tell you a quick story from my own life. A while back, I was rummaging through my old coin collection when I found a penny that looked like it had been through the ringer. I mean, it was scratched up, dirty, and basically looked like it had been used as a chew toy by a dog. But I didn't just throw it away, because, hey, you never know. After some research, I found out that even though it wasn't in mint condition, it was actually worth a little more than the 10 cents I'd originally thought. Now, I didn't find a $1.3 million penny, but the point is, coins can hold surprising value if you know where to look. That penny might not have made me rich, but it definitely made me appreciate the potential hidden in every coin.so. To wrap this up, if you've got a 1976 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, take a second look at it. You could be holding on to a rare piece of American history that might just make you a small fortune. And hey, if you're serious about collecting and learning more about coins worth money, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips and tricks to help you spot those hidden treasures, whether it's a penny, a nickel, or even a rare silver dollar. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the best things come in the smallest, most unexpected packages, like a penny that could change your life. Ever had a penny sitting around in your pocket that you thought was just, well, a penny? What if I told you that some pennies are worth way more than their face value? Like a whole lot more. We're talking about a penny that could be worth up to 1.4 million bucks. No, this isn't a joke, and yes, you're going to want to check your change jar after hearing this. Buckle up, because today we're diving into the 1973 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and how this little guy could be hiding in your collection, quietly making you rich. So, let's break this down. We all know the classic Abraham Lincoln penny, right? It's one of those coins that has been around forever, and let's face it, most of us don't give it much thought. But here's the kicker. If you happen to find a 1973 penny without a mint mark, you could be looking at a coin worth way more than just a cent now. Before you rush off to check your change, let's clarify what makes this particular penny so valuable. You see, in 1973, the U.S. Mint produced coins with mint marks to show where they were made: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But, for some reason, a few 1973 pennies slipped through the cracks and came out of the Philadelphia Mint without any mint mark. Now, this is where it gets exciting. These no mint mark pennies are rare, and rarity equals value in the world of coin collecting. To put it into perspective, in the world of rare coins, this 1973 no mint mark penny could fetch up to $1.4 million in today's market. That's right, million. It's mind-blowing, right? A single penny that's worth more than most people's entire coin collections. It's a true treasure, and it doesn't even come with a fancy gold plating or anything. Just a plain OL Lincoln. Now, let's talk about how you can spot one of these elusive pennies. First off, you need to make sure it's a 1973 penny. That's step one. You're looking for a regular old copper penny. Nothing special about the design itself. But the key is that missing mint mark. Typically, pennies minted in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark, but for some years, they were supposed to have them. In 1973, they forgot, and a few slipped through without it. But how do you even know if you've got one? Well, that's where the fun starts. You'll need to look closely at the reverse side of the coin, where you usually find the mint mark right below the date. If there's nothing there, you might just have a winner. If you find one of these rare pennies, get ready to possibly have your life changed. Here's a funny personal story. Years ago, my grandfather used to save every penny he came across. He had an entire jar full of them. I remember going through them one day, and I found a penny that looked a little different from the rest. It was older, worn out, but there was something special about it. I kept it in my pocket for the longest time, thinking it was just cool because it looked like it had a story. Fast forward a few years, and I finally got curious enough to check it out. Turns out, I didn't find anything as valuable as a 1973 no mint mark penny, but it made me realize just how much potential these old pennies have. So, if you have a coin jar lying around, take a closer look. Don't overlook your pennies, especially the ones that seem ordinary. A 1973 no mint mark penny could be worth a lot, and who knows, you might just have one tucked away in your collection or change jar. If you find one, well, get ready to make some serious money. And if you're into finding coins that are worth way more than face value, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tips and tricks. I've got plenty more coin advice coming your way. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next treasure hunt.